It was a hot weekend in the Granite State up in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. Christopher Bell stamps his dominance in the Xfinity Series with an exciting win, and a gentleman who was the beneficiary of a bump and run last year at this racetrack was the beneficiary of a bad bump and run this weekend at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. All this and more, and Corey's question will be asked by the end of the episode. Do I now stop calling Kevin Harvick Mr. Invisible now that he's crossed the start-finish line in 2019? All this and more tonight on the C+J Speedway Review. From the 97-degree heat, and that's just ambient temperature around the racetrack, to 140 inside the cars this weekend at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and I can only imagine how hot Corey was Saturday at the Xfinity race. We bring you all the action from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, plus this week's split schedule of Pocono and Iowa. My name is Chris Burns, the jabroni of the C+J Speedway Review. Across the screen from me, all the way in Peabody, Massachusetts, with his Cherry Jolly Ranchers, this is Mr. Corey Huffnagel. Corey, how the hell are you tonight?
How'd you know I was having Cherry Jolly Ranchers?
Because it's the only flavor worth playing with. That and watermelon. So I had two choices.
Exactly.
I took a shot.
Well, I could just tell you this. It was a really hot weekend at New Hampshire, but it was well worth it. And I will say this, the races on Saturday were great. The Xfinity race, I thought it was good too. But again, once Christopher Bell took the lead, there was no chance in catching him. I mean, it was just, he was pretty much in his own zone after that. But no, I mean, all I could just say now is, I think it's just pretty much a close call, who wins this Xfinity championship this year.
Bell and Custer. That's the only two names right now that, in my opinion, have the most, let's just say they have the easiest road to the championship. It's theirs to win, but it's also theirs to lose. There's a lot of hungry guys coming up underneath that could tip over that apple cart. And in saying that, we should just jump right in to the Xfinity race. You attended this past Saturday. I watched the Greatest Hits version on Monday. First, you had Brandon Jones coming away with a surprise stage win. Yeah. But everything after that had the name Christopher Bell attached to it. He takes the lead. He basically dominates the entire second two-thirds of the race. Wow. The back end was all Christopher Bell. Dominant. I haven't seen a dominant win like that in New Hampshire since Jeff Burton on the Cup Series led all 301 laps in a race in the late 90s.
Indeed, but yeah, I mean, I would just say this, it was just pretty much Christopher Bell's zone, and once he took the lead, he just never looked back on that point. But a real dominant car, that guy had, and like I said, it's a close call for this Xfinity championship, no question about it. But I want to go back to the race on Saturday, where, if you remember that altercation between Harrison Burton and Paul Menard right at the end. So this is my version on it. I mean, I will say, it was hard racing. Of course, you have a kid that runs full time in the Truck Series right now, has had a little bit of experience in the Xfinity Series. And again, we have those guys in the Cup side, of course, Paul Menard, who doesn't run a lot of Xfinity races like Kyle Busch and Keselowski and Harvick and all those guys do and so forth. But what happened was, apparently, I think Burton was kind of racing him a little bit too hard, which that kind of meant Menard saying, okay, you kind of raced me a little bit dirty, which, you got me twice going down to turn 1 and 2 on the backstretch, and then I got you once, by spinning you out and so forth. But it was actually interesting too, because I was actually at the race when I saw that whole those guys discussing it and everything, and I just thought okay, they're probably just talking about the race and everything else and so forth. But I didn't know that Harrison wasn't too happy that Paul spun him out, and then yet again, I would say that it ruined Harrison's chances of a good run and a good finish as well. But then yet again, I would just say it was hard racing, and yeah, I mean. I would just have to say now, and I would probably say that, the Xfinity guys shouldn't race the Cup guys differently, but, I would just say that, they should just race the way that they should race.
I didn't see anything wrong with what happened between Burton and Menard. Certainly, there's always a dust-up after the fact. Thankfully, nobody threw a hat like Natalie Decker in the most wussy move ever in the history of ever. That was like third-grade Jones. But, I can see Burton's side. I can see Menard's side. You're out there to race. You're out there to win. So you got nudged. So you got moved. So you got taken out. It happens. So you dust up. You have your say, whether in the pits, in the garage, between the haulers, what have you, and you move on. When we go to the Cup race, Stenhouse is looking for revenge on Eric Jones. That was a big story today on MSN.com. Is that Stenhouse is pretty much announced, when I get near the 20, I'm going to wreck him. Guys, we've been through this before with Martin Truex last year toward the end of the season with Joey Logano. It's never a good thing to announce your intention. Keep it in your back pocket. So when it does come, the announcers are already going to know, oh, look, here's payback from Harrison Burton from that New Hampshire crash back in July. If you announce it, that's all people are going to be looking for. And when you're running side by side, it's all the announcers are going to talk about. Not how hard you're running, not how good your position is. Oh, when are we going to see the incident? Keep it in your back pocket. Stop announcing out loud to the press that you're going to wreck somebody. I give Harrison Burton and Paul Menard a lot of credit. They said what they said. They moved along. We haven't heard about it since. Good move on both their parts.
Yeah, and not to mention, Harrison said that he's moving on and he's focusing on the race Saturday at Pocono. But again, I really think it was. I think it was hard racing. I mean, again, I know that Burton, hasn't run a lot of Xfinity races, and Paul has run a lot, but then yet again, it's just pretty much those part in the race where, you get moved up. It happens.
Absolutely. But again, you watch that race. It was exciting to see some of the guys that were doing really well on that flat 1 mile track. But again, all Christopher Bell, all the time.
Yeah.
So you were there live. You kind of gave us a takeaway or two. One question I have is about the race, and the other question I have is about the weather. And yes, I also was in the Granite State this past weekend, family vacation, had a great time. It was sweltering ass hot. Quick question. First, about the weather. How much would you say the temperature was in the stands where you were sitting?
We pretty much sat way up in the grandstands, where the shade kind of hit the top side. So I would say it was hot, but it wasn't really sweltering hot. I would probably say it's kind of hot in the middle.
So it wasn't Africa hot?
No.
Okay, not Mozambique hot. We got that out of the way. Second, during that first stage, and again, I got the greatest hits package. I didn't see the entire run of the race. It looked like Brandon Jones lucked his way into that stage win. Am I wrong, or was that just really good strategy by that Jones team?
I would say it was good strategy because when I was watching the race, I saw that Jones and a couple guys stayed out. And I think eighth on back, those were the guys that pitted. So I pretty much said, all right, so if Jones can hang on these next couple laps, he could get a stage win, very lucky and suppose. And not to mention, stage one ended in a 3-wide finish, which of course she had Bell, who came in second, and then Tyler Reddick, who came in third. I thought it was exciting, and it was funny because I didn't even know who took the first stage at first, and then I saw it was the 19. I thought, wow, he edged him out big time.
Yeah, the guys in the booth didn't have a clue either until about 15, 20 seconds later when all the telemetry came in. When you get the breakdown, it's unofficial until the telemetry comes in. Yeah. So once Jones was officially announced stage one winner, the announcers were speculating at that point, but it was really good. I enjoyed it. You were there. Hope you had an awesome time. Unfortunately, no luck with a Matt DiBenedetto t-shirt, but you know what? There's always NASCARSuperstore.com, which if you go to LokiandJabroni.com, click on our Amazon link, that Amazon has a super link to the NASCAR store. Use our link, the Focus Digital Network. Corey, why don't you run down the running order? We'll get to happies and sads and the picks.
All right, so Christopher Bell ends up winning the race. Cole Custer finishes in second. Justin Allgaier finishes in third. Tyler Reddick in fourth. Paul Menard in fifth. And then, of course, Chase Briscoe rounds out in sixth. Ryan Truex in seventh. Ryan Sieg in eighth. Brandon Jones in ninth. And Noah Gragson rounds out your top 10. Then you have Michael Annett in 11th. You have Austin Cindric in 12th. You have Justin Haley in 13th, Kaz Gralla in 14th. And then going all the way down, you have C.J. McLaughlin in 28th, Harrison Burton in 29th, and then Carl Long in 38th.
All right, so I guess I'll start this one because the Cup race, wow, what an exciting time that was. I'm going to give my happy, obviously, to Christopher Bell. Once again, he put his footprint on his championship dream. Basically, he's got his foot on the throat of every other driver, and much like we talk about, momentum is king in this sport. So good on Christopher Bell. My sad's not going to go to a driver. It's going to go to a team, and my sad's going to go to Colleague Racing, who found out late Sunday night that the crew chief of that 11 team passed away. Very young age. I believe he was 38 years old.
37.
37, okay. Just tragic. Oh, he was there.
Yeah.
He does the race, and the next day, he's gone. Guys, just remember one thing, and I give my heartfelt condolences to the entire Colleague Racing team.
Yeah.
You know, tomorrow isn't guaranteed. So say something nice, do something nice, let somebody know what they mean to you, and, you know, give it your all every chance you get. Again, life is fragile, life is precious, and we found that out this weekend in New Hampshire.
Yeah. And,
so what do you got?
See. So for me, so my happy on this one, I'm going to go with Ryan Sieg. I mean, finishing in the top 10. I thought this was a good run for this 93 team. And let's see, my sad, of course, I'm going to go with Harrison Burton. I mean, he had a really good run until he got taken out right at the end, but disappointing run for him. And hopefully he can get some more good runs in that 18 car soon.
Amen. I like that kid, and not just because of his bloodline, but he's just a really good, hard-nosed racer. He's what I like to see out there on the racetrack. Nobody likes a Kyle Busch. Speaking of which, hashtag FKB. Nobody likes a Kyle Busch who whines and runs hard. You can't have both. Be a man. And Harrison Burton is all man. I give him a lot of credit. Yeah. So in one of the closest pick battles of our entire season, we will start the parade with, I took Cole Custer as my lock. He finished second. I took Ryan Truex as my sleeper. He finished 7th. That's a total of 9. My finish for the week, once you divide it in half, is 4.5. On the other side, Corey also took Cole Custer as his lock. He finished 2nd, but he picked Paul Menard as his sleeper. He finished 5th. That's a total of 7. So Corey comes in with a 3.5, beating my 4.5 for the 2 points in the Xfinity race.
All right.
So not only did you get to go see a great race at a great facility, you won the Xfinity points this week. You know what? Pat yourself on the back real quick. Just go right ahead. Show the people. Get your Barry Horowitz on. That's a good thing. But, man, like I said in the open, last year, Kevin Harvick takes home the Foxwoods 301 with a bump and run on Kyle Busch. This year, Denny Hamlin fails to properly execute the bump and run, leaving Harvick the bottom side of the track where he ran great for the last third of the race, giving Kevin Harvick his first victory of the year. I got to see the last stage. I listened to the first 2 on PRN on the way back from New Hampshire this weekend. And for all intent and purpose, sounded like a great race, but I do want to point out, can Kyle Larson have any more bad luck than he's having this year? It seems like every week we talk about fighting in the world of engine trouble, tire trouble, pit trouble, wall trouble. The only thing he hasn't had is legal trouble this year.
Right.
So what's the story in your mind? Is Ganassi Racing hitting that panic button right now saying, what the hell are we going to do with the 42?
I would probably say that, they're literally going to have to just race. They're going to have to race tough the next couple weeks. And not only that, I really think they're starting to panic just a little bit. And like I said, Larson hasn't had a really good season so far. I mean, he's got taken out maybe a couple times because of crashes and whatnot. I mean, he has finished in the top 10 a few times this season, but I just look at that team right now, just when you think that, they're running good, at the same time, they have been running bad also too. But I don't know. I just kind of look at it, even though, let's see, I'm looking at the points as of right now. So Larson right now is in 13th. So he is kind of a little bit into the good, but even if he gets taken out the next couple races, he could pretty much be the next guy, that'll be outside that playoff cutoff line.
Well, you got to look at some of the guys that are underneath him, and I believe Clint Boyer's back there. I believe Jimmy Johnson just fell out of the top 16. You have a guy like Matt DiBenedetto who is getting better every single week and could easily top 10 his way into that bump spot at 16 and leave a lot of guys in the cold. Matt DiBenedetto could win a race in the next few races and push his way right into that 16, moving somebody else out. I like Kyle Larson. Angela loves Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
There's nothing about this guy that I don't like. Consider when we started this show in the latter half of the 2017 season, it was his dream season. It was him. It was Martin Truex Jr. They are winning everything, kind of like last year's version of Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. They won everything. It comes down to that last week. They're both in that championship four, and Logano, in 2017, it became Martin Truex. Last year, Logano pushed his way to the front. This year, we're not sure. We still don't really have an on-site favorite unless you count Busch, Truex, two of the big four from last year. I don't really see a clear-cut favorite, but the name that's not in that argument or even in that conversation right now is Kyle Larson. That's big trouble.
Yeah.
Again, we go from dream to 2017 to having a bad back half of 2018, and now in 2019, he couldn't find victory lane with GPS.
He couldn't find it anywhere, but I mean, I just kind of look at his results. I mean, you just look at it. I mean, he finished fourth last week, and then he finished 20th beside that, and then, of course, second in the top 10. But I don't know. I just kind of look at it. I mean, I think it's just hit or miss for this 42 team, and hopefully that these guys can run good the next couple of weeks. And if not, they're going to be the ones that might be out as well.
Absolutely. And one thing I took away from this race, I'm sure you did too, is how some of the guys who we don't really get to talk about a lot, like a Matt DiBenedetto, like a Ryan Newman, Eric Almirola, Eric Jones, all had fantastic runs this weekend. Couldn't have been happier for a lot of those guys, especially Newman, most especially Matt DiBenedetto. Wow, just a great run for a lot of guys you really don't see hanging around the top five very often. And Matty D coming home in fifth. Wow, fantastic. That 95 team, that Levine Racing team, they're going to be in victory lane before the end of the season. Mark it down. I said it. Matt DiBenedetto will win. He may not get into the playoffs, but he will cross the finish line in first sometime this season.
See, I definitely see that. And not to mention, of course, Levine Family Racing's aligned with Joe Gibbs. And I would have to say, after finishing fourth at Sonoma, I just kind of think that this team's there. But I don't think they're there, just yet. But I would probably say, maybe come latter half before we get to the regular season finale, I think this team will go somewhere.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They keep getting better and better and better. I couldn't be more happy. But my happiness was trumped for DiBenedetto by Kevin Harvick taking home the Big Lobster. And now I guess I have to answer your question. Yeah. Is it time for me to stop calling Kevin Harvick Mr. Invisible? Well, I took an impromptu straw poll of two non-race fans last night on the Loki and Jabroni show. That would be producer Eddie Focus and Michael Loki Smith. In pimping this show out to our listeners on the Loki and Jabroni show, and I says, is it time? Last year, this time, Harvick has 6 wins, collects 8 wins on the season, finishes in the top 4 of the points, not quite the champion. But I've been calling him Mr. Invisible all year. Is it time for me to stop? And they both agreed. Not yet. If he crosses the line, if he gets another win before the end of the regular season in September, then yes, I will take it away. For right now, I'll call him Mr. Peekaboo because he just peeked into victory lane this weekend.
Yeah.
So from now on, no more Mr. Invisible. I'm going to amend it to Mr. Peekaboo.
Yeah. And then again, Stewart-Haas Racing gets their first win of the year, and now it's pretty much the big question is, who's the next Stewart-Haas guy that's going to end up in victory lane? Because, I look at Suarez. I mean, he's run pretty good this year. And then Boyer, from at one time, he was ninth in the standings down to, the cutoff line. And then, of course, you also have Eric Almirola, which, of course, he won race last year, and he's also run pretty good, too. So, I don't know. I mean, if I had to pick 3 of those drivers, except one that's already won, I definitely want to see Suarez, get the victory lane sometime soon because, we're going to some really good tracks that Suarez is really good at. I mean, Pocono, he finished second last year. And then, of course, Watkins Glen, he finished in the top 5. So I kind of look at it. I think Suarez is going to be the next guy for SHR that's going to win.
I'm going to disagree, and even though he's not in my pick set for this week, and we'll get to that when we preview the Pocono race, you have a racetrack with 3 distinct turns, long straightaways where you can run wide open. That's got Clint Boyer's name written all over it. He may not be the best at Pocono, but sometimes you need that breakthrough win at a track you've never won at before to propel yourself. I think Clint Boyer gets to victory lane before Daniel Suarez, but it'll be real close.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't you break down the finishing order? And, wait, real quick, I wanted to ask you. I already had my say about it. The last few laps of the Foxwoods Resort Casino 301 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the bump and runs between Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick. Obviously, Denny said he gave him too much of the bottom, where everybody who watched that race knew, even on old tires, Harvick owned the bottom of the racetrack. He was making up so much ground using that bottom to his advantage. Where do you think Denny Hamlin made a mistake? Do you agree with him that he gave him too much bottom, or did he not give him too much door in the bump and run?
I would probably say he didn't give too much door when he was making that bump and run coming into the last corner, because immediately I'm watching the last lap, and I thought to myself, all right, it's either he's going to bump the 4 out of the way, or these guys are going to race side by side till the finish line, whatever. But I don't know. I think I kind of look at it, I really thought, Hamlin was going to move him right out of the way because it's the last lap, and all you got to do is, you either come back with a trophy of the steering wheel. But the way I see it, I think Hamlin kind of played a little bit too nice and, kind of wanted Harvick to get that win, but I really don't know. But other than that, I thought the races this weekend, especially the one on Sunday, I thought it was exciting, going up to the last lap, which I really thought, was going to be a fantastic finish. And we saw a really good finish this weekend.
I hate to say this, but I wanted to see a finish like Harvick and Martin at the 2007 Daytona 500, or like a Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch back in Darlington from 03. Door to door, side by side. Only the telemetry can tell you who won. That's what I wanted to see. But I got to give Denny Hamlin a lot of credit. Did he play too nice or too safe? More than likely. But he ran clean. He didn't knock anybody. He didn't spin him. He didn't wreck a really good race car. He raced the way you want to see him race. Hard-nosed, door-to-door. Just didn't have enough at the end. But and I'm not downplaying Kevin Harvick victory. Jesus, I'm a Kevin Harvick fan as long as the day is. But in those closing laps, Hamlin had a machine that could have taken over that 4 car. He just didn't take the advantages every single time. I think you're right. I don't think he played too nice. I think he played too safe.
Yeah.
So, and good on him for not wrecking 2 quality race cars. Why don't you give us the running order? We'll get to picks, happies, and sads.
All right, so Kevin Harvick ends up winning the race. Denny
Mr. Peekaboo.
Denny Hamlin finishes in 2nd. Eric Jones in 3rd. Ryan Blaney comes home in 4th. Matt DiBenedetto, Guido, finishes in the top 5.
Guido.
And then Martin Truex Jr. finishes in 6th. Ryan Newman in 7th. Kyle Busch in 8th. Joey Logano rounds out 9th. And Brad Keselowski rounds out your top 10. Then you have Eric Almirola, you have William Byron, Paul Menard, Alex Bowman, and Chris Buescher round out the top 15. Then you have Ty Dillon, Michael McDowell, Kurt Busch, Daniel Suarez, Clint Boyer in the top 20. And then let's see, Ryan Preece, Bubba Wallace, Corey LaJoie, Matt Tiff, Ross Chastain, Landon Castle, and let's see, Andy Seiss, Chase Elliott, and Jimmy Johnson in the top 30. And then some notable names, you have Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson, David Reagan, Austin Terrio, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Daniel Hemrick.
Okay, I got to ask you a quick question because this was the 2/3 of the race I listened to on PRN on the way back from New Hampshire from our vacation. Austin Dillon spins early, hits the wall, goes in, gets the repairs, comes out, spins again. My question to you is, not being a professional NASCAR driver, just in your mind's eye, does it do him more harm than good to keep repairing this jalopy by this point and keep going out? Did he hold anybody up? I only watched the 3rd stage. I'm sorry. So by that time, Dillon was already relegated to the lower end of the track, letting people go by him. He wasn't competitive.
Right.
After the first crash, I understand. After the second crash, are you just basically pissing in the wind?
I would probably say Yeah, I mean, I'd probably say, of course, you spend twice. I mean, it's just, why are you out there competing anyway when you're just, a couple laps down and so forth. So, yeah.
Well, a couple laps is fine. I don't mind that. If you're 4 laps down, you play your strategy right. A couple well placed cautions here and there, you're back in the hunt. As long as your car is competitive.
Yeah.
I think by the time I got into the house and turned on the race, Dylan was running at the track minimum, meaning he can stay out on the track. He wasn't slow, but he wasn't fast. You watch
Right.
some of these guys hurtling down the backstretch at a $150, woeing it down to a 109 to take that flat, 7 degrees of banking, and then go into straightaway to the start finish line. Dylan just basically rode in a circle.
Right.
He didn't accelerate. It was basically like 115 the entire way. Wasn't anything that anybody wants to see, especially if you're someone who goes to the track, spends your money on number 3 gear, Austin Dillon, and does all this. Nobody wants to see that from their driver
No.
at all. So I agree with you. There's really not a lot good to say about Austin Dillon's weekend. I felt bad for him because I believe if I heard it right, he spun solo. Nobody helped him. Nobody pushed him. Nobody
No.
nudged him. Had a tire issue. Car turns. It happens.
Right.
So bad weekend for him. He was almost my sad. But since you read this out, I'll get to the. Well, let's start with the happies and sads. Why don't you get to yours first?
Okay, so my happy, of course, definitely has to be Guido, finishing in the top 5, and a good run for that team. And I do expect a lot more great runs out of this Levine family racing team pretty soon. And of course, my sad on this one, of course, the sad has to go to Kyle Larson, which, the kid can't catch a break. And I mean, hopefully he can run well pretty soon.
I had the same 2 picks written down. Matt DiBenedetto. Sorry, I just say Guido. 5th place finish. You guys all know, having listened to the show since the beginning, I am a big fan of Matt DiBenedetto. I want him to do well. Been hemming and hawing back and forth, but me and Jason Blue, who was at the race on Sunday, excuse me, Hiccup Jones. He texted me, asked me if I was there. I said, no, sir, I'm driving back home from vacation. By the time I get home, race finishes, he's texting me pictures of Harvick's burnout. And all I could say was, hell of a run by Guido. And we talked about it. So here, live on this show, if the day comes that Kevin Harvick decides to hang up that number 4 fire suit, Matt DiBenedetto is stepping in as my number 1 guy. It is official right here. No takebacks. Corey will remind me in the event that I choose anybody else. Hey, you remember New Hampshire 2019? You said Matt DiBenedetto. Oh, nuts. Now I'm stuck with it. That's it. Matt DiBenedetto. My new favorite guy. Once Kevin Harvick retires, mark it down.
Right.
And Corey will probably pick, Christopher Bell, because by that time he'll be 3 championships in on the Cup Series. And that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it. But let's go to the picks. Not close this week. So flipping a coin, I'm going to start with Corey. Corey took Brad Keselowski as his lock. He finished 10th. He took Kyle Larson as his sleeper. Unfortunately, a 33rd place finish. But he took Eric Almirola as his hopeful. He finished 11th. That's a total of 54. Divide that by 3. Top 20 finish, my man. You're in the top half with an 18. On the other side, I took Joey Logano as my lock. He finished 9th. I took Ryan Newman as my sleeper. He finished 7th. I took Kevin Harvick as my hopeful. Finally taking Kevin Harvick out of the hopeful position. He finished 1st. That's a total of 17. My finish was a 5.6, giving me the 3 points. So your weekly total update coming out of the Granite State, 58-55, my favor by 3. Still really close. It's been close for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The last 8 weeks have been within 5 points. Somewhere along the way, Corey found his stat hat. He put it back on. We are now close. This is a nail biter every single week. This is the time where you start chewing on the Jolly Ranchers rather than just keeping them in your mouth and enjoying the flavor. I'm surprised Corey still has molars, having not chewed all of these Jolly Ranchers week after week after week.
Right.
So, quick question before we get out of the race talk from New Hampshire and move on to Pocono, Iowa, Pocono. I did bring up Ricky Stenhouse and Eric Jones. What is your take on that?
See, I thought that one was just racing too. And again, when Ricky said in his interview, oh, there's going to be another payback coming for him pretty soon, I kind of thought to myself, all right, I would want to see it, but now you basically just told everybody that's watching on TV and then up at the race deck and then announcers and all that saying that, you're going to see a payback coming. So now I think probably NASCAR is going to keep like maybe a close full eye on them and see what happens. But no, I mean, I will say that, I thought it was just hard racing the way I saw it.
I agree with that, and it goes back to many of the old feuds back in the day where they say the payback is coming, the payback is coming. It's better to keep it in your back pocket. You never heard Rusty Wallace or Dale Earnhardt or Richard Petty or Harry Gant, or even I have never heard, and if I'm wrong, somebody hit us up on the Twitter at CJ_Speedway, or collectively Corey or myself on the Twitter, or on the Facebook if I'm wrong. I've never heard Kyle Busch, who is a master of wrecking people for gain. He's not just doing it to do it. He's doing it for track position. I'm all for that, unless it's the number 4 of Kevin Harvick. But you never hear Kyle Busch say, yeah, that guy rattled my cage. I'm going to go out there and wreck him next week. Kyle knows how to keep it in his pocket. Some of the best ever knew how to keep it in their pocket. Matt Kenseth being the first one that comes to my mind with that Martinsville wreck a couple years ago. But we've had that argument before with Joey Ternullo, with Jason Blue, with you and I. Kenseth's steering was gone. He had nowhere to go. But I think if his steering had held up, he still would have wrecked Logano at Martinsville.
Right.
Okay. So now we move on. We are split racing this weekend. Pocono for the trucks, Iowa for Xfinity, and Pocono for the Cup. And you know what that means, kids? It means I'm going to be mowing the lawn during this race because I hate Pocono. I'll watch a little bit of it, but guys, paint dry Jones, I can't do it. I just can't do it. Somebody once said to me, if you go to Pocono, you might enjoy it. Well, if I go to hell, I might enjoy that too. I better bring a swimsuit and, a fan. It doesn't make it any better. After 40 years of watching racing in Pocono, I'm still not liking it. But, hey, Corey loves it, and that's why we're here. We're going to talk about it this week. So the trucks, tell us where, when, how, why, and where we can see it or hear it.
All right, so Saturday you have the Gander Outdoor Truck Series, the Gander RV 150 at Pocono, which is on 1 o'clock Eastern Time on Fox. And, of course, you have Sirius XM Satellite Radio, Channel 90, which, of course, you have the Motor Racing Network.
The voice of NASCAR.
Okay.
I gotta give Miss Chelsea a lot of credit. Before I picked up my 7-day ban for telling a non-Trump supporter how wrong they were, and Facebook slapping my wrist like I'm a 3-year-old, I put up that thing that says, if you know me, name one thing I love. A lot of people came in with good answers. A lot of people came in with garbage answers. But Chelsea Tzatziki Sauce comes in with MRN, the voice of NASCAR. So big thumbs up to Tzatziki Sauce wherever you are.
Yes.
All right. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, who are our usual suspects this week?
Okay, so you got guys like Tyler Dipple, you have Sheldon Creed, Todd Gilliland, you have, Gustine, Johnny Sauter, Anthony Alfredo, excuse me, Austin Hill, Tyler Ingram, Harrison Burton, Spencer Boyd, Austin Wade South, Brett Moffitt, Bryant Barnhill is one of them, Ross Chastain, of course. Christian Eckes is in the 51 truck. You have Stuart Friesen. You have Natalie Decker, Joe Nemechek, Matt Crafton, Grant Enfinger, and Ben Rhodes.
Okay. Sounds like all the usual suspects and a couple newbies in there.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to make my picks real quick. I'm writing something down because the jabroni midget is to my right. She's not coming on camera today unless she has something to add other than yup and So she's making a little piece of art real quick.
Okay.
You know what? There's a guy who really needs to jumpstart his 2019 season, needs a win or 2 or 3 or 4 to really make him a strong competitor. I'm going to take Johnny Sauter as my lock. And, of course, my sleeper is the same sleeper I've probably picked for the last 7 truck races. I'm going to go with Sheldon. Do not call me Apollo Creed.
Okay. So for me, I know that Kyle Busch Motorsports has won the last two races of Pocono, which you had Christopher Bell who won in 2017, and then last year, which of course was Kyle Busch. So
Correct.
my mind is kind of telling me, okay, so I think the lock on Saturday, I'm gonna go with the 18 of Harrison Burton. I really think this kid has something to prove. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he won an ARCA race at Pocono, I think last year or something like that. But I really think, KBM is going to be the one to beat this weekend. And if it's going to be one of them, I have to say the 18 of Harrison Burton. As much as I want to pick Todd Gilliland, which of course, he's yet to win a race in his career, I really think the 18's, has the edge, no question about it. My sleeper on this, of course, I'm going to go with actually, on this, I'm going to have to go with his teammate, Christian Eckes. I mean, he had a really good run the last time he raced in the truck series. I forget what race it was, but no, I really think the 51 truck, could be a strong suit again, and I'm hoping that, Eckes can get his first career win.
Not bad all the way around. And then we move to Iowa for the Xfinity race, as everybody knows, as a former and still to this day, if he got in a car, I'd be his biggest fan. As a huge Rusty Wallace fan, Rusty Wallace designed Iowa Speedway. It's a track that works for some of the guys who love that short track feel on a super speedway speed. Really great. It's the Xfinity race. Who's our suspects this week?
Okay, so let me just pop it up right now because apparently my iPad's a little bit too weird at the moment, but this is basically going to be yes. So this is going to be race 2 on Saturday. So you have the Xfinity guys racing in Iowa, the US Cellular 250, 5 o'clock Eastern time on NBCSN. And then, of course, stream it live on the NBC Sports app. And then, of course, you're going to have Sirius XM Satellite Radio, the Motor Racing Network.
The voice of NASCAR.
So let's see. So it never gets old, but let's see. So there's no Cup drivers in the field. So basically, this weekend is going to be an opportunity race for everybody. So reading down the list, you have the 00 of Cole Custer. You have Garrett Smithley. You have Michael Annett, Tyler Reddick. Let's see, Stephen Light, Justin Allgaier, Greg Galding, Zane Smith, Noah Gregson, Justin Haley, Ryan Vargas, who's going to be making his Xfinity debut. Let's see. Then you have Riley Herbst. You have Brandon Jones. You have Christopher Bell. You have Austin Cindric, John Hunter Nemechek. You have Shane Lee. You have Joey Gase, Ryan Sieg. You have Jeremy Clements. Of course, you have Will Rogers. And let's see, going down the list, you have Morgan Shepherd, Chase Briscoe, and then last but not least, Stephen Parsons.
Okay. I went a little different on this one. Iowa, I looked at the results from the spring. I looked at results from last year. Nothing really stood out because some of them have Cup guys, some of them don't. I took, in my opinion, the 2 best guys I thought who could use either a win or a little bit of a boost in the standings. So my lock is going to be Justin Allgaier, and my sleeper is going to be Brandon Jones.
Okay. So my lock on this one was kind of too close to call, but I'm going to have to say my lock. I'm going to go with Cole Custer this weekend. Like I said, it's too close, between Bell and Custer because the way that these guys have been running the last few weeks, I really think these are going to be the 2 guys that you're going to have to watch out for in the championship. And my sleeper, I'm going to go with the 18 of Riley Herbst. I really want to see this kid run pretty good, and hopefully he can get his first career win.
Well, and he also did well for you the last time you picked him with a top 10 finish, basically beating me by 1.5 points, 2 points. But, Herbst is a kid that really, it would be great to see him win, if not top 5. Just have a great run. Again, the more the youth movement moves on, the better the sport becomes.
Right.
So, and we're learning that week after week after week. But now we move on to Sunday. Watching paint dry 500 or whatever the name of the damn race is, because I hate Pocono. But we do a racing show, have to talk about it, and I will watch some of it. I promise you guys. I'll take in at least 100 laps of this race. I promise you.
So you'll basically just watch 100 laps, and then you'll skip pretty much the last 60 laps.
Actually, I might watch the last 100 laps and not watch the first 60. I know it's a very large track. They run about a $1.60, $1.80 in this race for laps. Actually, real quick, if you could go to the Google machine and find out what the stage breakdown is, I'll tell you exactly how many laps I'll watch.
Okay. Let's see. So let's see. Going down to the stage breaks, because I know that the truck race on Saturday, the stages aren't going to be too long for that one.
Right.
So
might
just
get 40,
looking
40, 40 out of that one.
Yeah. Let's see. Stage lengths. Okay. So let's see. Stage lengths for Pocono 2019. Let's see. Okay. So let's see. So the stage lengths for the second Pocono race, you have first one is 50 laps, the other one is 100, and then the last stage would be 60. So
All
pretty
right,
much you would have 50, 50, and 60.
50, 50, and 60. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm still going to watch a minimum of 100 laps of Pocono. I promise you guys this. I'll make it a point. I'm going to try to see what Corey and a lot of other people see who, when they hear, every time we talk about Pocono, I get private messages like, how can you say Pocono's bad race? Pocono's great race. Pocono is like watching my lawn grow. Oh, that rhymes. We should make that a shirt. Pocono is like watching the lawn grow. Little egg at the bottom. Oh, that'd be so cool. Eddie, get on that. Anyway, but it's Pocono. It's a cup race. Why don't you lead off with your picks, locks, sleepers, hopefuls?
Okay, so first you have the Gander Outdoors.
Oh, damn it. Sorry, Corey. I apologize.
That's all right. All right, so you have the Gander RV 400 this weekend at Pocono, 3 o'clock Eastern Time on NBCSN. And then, of course, you can stream it live on the NBC Sports app. And then, of course, you have Sirius XM Satellite Radio, which, of course, you have the Motor Racing Network.
The voice of NASCAR.
All right.
So who are our suspects this week? Everybody's the usual.
Everybody's the usual. Let's see. You have Austin Terrio, who's going to be running again this weekend in the 52 car so far. And it looks, of course, Ross Chastain is going to be doing double, I want to say, this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for him. Another guy that when he broke that watermelon a couple of weeks ago, how fantastic was that?
Yeah. Very fantastic.
Everybody's got a gimmick, and if that's his gimmick, God love him. If and when he makes full-time Cup, if and when he gets that first Cup victory, which is a highlight of anybody's career. Look, Lake Speed won a race, guys. Come on, let's be honest. Have your signature. Get that watermelon, smash it on the front stretch, and then do a burnout in the watermelon. That'd be great.
Well, that would be really awesome. And not to mention him and his family, they grow watermelons in Florida.
Right. And I never understood when the watermelon man, I'm like, okay, I don't get it until when he won that race a couple weeks ago and smashed that watermelon. I'm like, now I get it, because they mentioned they're watermelon farmers.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes.
What a gimmick. You can't get better than that, other than if your family was from Hawaii and you were banana farmers and you just threw a bunch of bananas in the crowd. That'd be fantastic.
that would be fantastic. But what's up?
Real quick, did on the NASCAR end, did Tony Stewart? He was the one that started the fence climbing deal, right?
Yes.
Okay, him and his crew, Zipadelli and everybody. Okay, thank you. I've lost my mind for a minute there. You got the backflip, you got the bow, you got the climbing the fence. Everybody's got a little bit of a gimmick. Harvick with the flag, Keselowski with the American flag going around. Always, always, always. Everything's good. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I just love guys like going back even further to Alan Kulwicki, the first guy to ever do the Polish victory lap, and now everybody does it. Gimmick infringement. Every one of these NASCAR guys should be upset. They should have to pay royalties to the Kulwicki family to this day.
Of course.
All right, so we got the usual suspects. We know who's in. We know who's out. Lock, sleeper, and hopeful, my friend.
Okay, so my lock on this one, as much as I really want to say this, I really think Kyle Busch goes for the 3 for
Oh,
this
damn
weekend.
it. Now you made me pick up the paper. Hashtag FKB. How are you going to pick? I understand he's a winner there. You know what? I'm just going to shut up now. These are your picks.
I mean,
I'll pick on you.
I know he's won there the last 2 times, and he won there in June. So I kind of thought, all right, well, something tells me, within the last couple of years, a guy swept Pocono, and I think Kyle Busch could do it again this weekend. So that's what I can probably say on that. My sleeper, of course, I don't know. My sleeper, I'm going to go with one of the guys that's outside the top 10 right now. So my sleeper, I'm going to go with Ryan Newman. I know he had a good run this past weekend at New Hampshire, finishing in the top 10. So I just kind of look at this team right now, and I kind of thought, all right, so they could get some good runs in, but I really want to see, them perform really well like they did this past weekend. So hopefully, good on them. Let's see, and then my hopeful, I'm going to go with Matt DiBenedetto because, of course, started 7th, finishing 5th. Like I said, this team is there, but they're not there like just yet. But I really want to see a lot more runs out of this 95 team. And again, with Levine Family Racing aligned with Joe Gibbs, those runs are coming. But the only thing is it's going to take a little time, and hopefully they'll get them pretty soon enough.
Well, because you mirrored one of my picks, and fantastic on you, we both have the same hopeful. I also chose Matt DiBenedetto. It's momentum, and he just keeps moving up and up and up. This would be a great weekend to see him win. When you think about it, a couple years ago, I want to say it was the 2015 campaign. That was where a rain-shortened race got Chris Buescher into the playoffs. Am I wrong on that?
No, okay, Chris Busch, yeah, he did win, but basically it was just because of the fog and all that, and they couldn't see like half of the racetrack and all that.
Right, but it went official. He wins the race. Yeah. He gets into the playoffs. Not unlike Justin Haley and the debacle that was Daytona. Guys, I still apologize for the things I said on the Daytona episode. I can't apologize to you guys enough, but Corey was nice enough to let me spew my filthy guts. Thank you. So going from the hopeful, I'm going to go to the lock. You know what? It's a track every year. He may not win, but he's always top 5 that I can remember because I don't watch a lot of Pocono. I'm going to go with Brad Keselowski. And my sleeper, just because, again, I'm going to go with momentum. Eric Jones looks like he could do really good things at Pocono this weekend.
Yeah.
So having said that, do we have anything we want to talk about? We've been pretty economical on time tonight. Do you have anything in the news? I know we usually start the broadcast with that. Now you've gotten this far, guys. Let Corey bring you the news.
So basically, NASCAR announced now my iPad's a little bit glitchy, but NASCAR modified a new uncontrolled tire rule. So pretty much,
thank Jesus.
Thank Jeebus. Oh my God, thank Jeebus.
Oh my Lord. Did you say thank Beavis?
No, thank Jeebus.
Oh, okay, Jeebus. I'll take Jeebus.
Oh my Lord.
It's a fire.
Oh my Lord, thank Jeebus. Or as Bedina would say, hallelujah.
Corey, ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. But so this was just announced today. So NASCAR officials redefined the guidelines for the uncontrolled tire penalties that would make element pit stops officiating less subjective. So I'm going to read a few of these on here. So I know this is going to start this weekend at both Pocono and Iowa. So, quote, after discussions internally with competitors and teams in NASCAR, they will adjust how they officiate the uncontrolled tire rule to focus on preventing a safety hazard rather than concentrating on the subjective arm's length criteria NASCAR said in their statement. So the new language specifies that the tires will be considered under control if tires do not roll onto traffic lanes on pit road, remove tires which do not return to the outside half of the pit box, and then, of course, tire are handled in a safe manner, avoiding instances of bouncing or throwing tires. And then I also heard something for Watkins Glen, I guess, for next weekend. So I guess what crews have to do is they have to if they have to change tires on the outside part on pit road first before they do it on the inside part where the pit wall is. Because if they do it on the outside part first, whether if it's on a green flag pit stop, then it's basically, you go down pit road, for a passenger penalty. But if it's under caution, tail end of the longest line on the restart, whatever. So I got to tell you, I think NASCAR did a good job on this because I know that they've had a lot of blown uncontrolled tire rules within the last couple of races. And I really think, this was something that, that needed to be done. And this is something that needed to be addressed. And I pretty much applaud on that.
Oh, absolutely. And going back to last year when a tire could be in the driver's pit box and just happens to be 5 feet to the left or 5 feet to the right of particular crew member, they call it an uncontrolled tire. If you go back even 5 years before, 10 years before, 20 years before, as long as it stayed in the pit box, you were okay. Why? Because that's your workspace. Much like if you pulled in, and I remember vividly, Bill Elliott in 2001 pulls into the pits and just a little bit of his nose is sticking out, and they called him on a pit box penalty. Yeah. Which, let's be honest, you have this big old box, you have this less than big old car, you have this much room. You're a professional. Get in, get out, no screwing about. Bill Elliott had his nose out. Fantastic penalty. There used to be times when tires would roll across pit lane into the grass if it was a place like Daytona, California, Talladega that have the big grassy infields. No penalty. I get the uncontrolled tire rule. What I don't get, and I haven't gotten, and I've complained about it on this show and elsewhere, is that if that tire is still in my pit box, if I'm driving the number 100 Crown Royal, whatever gimmick Chevrolet, and the tire is still in my box for 50 plus years, 60 plus years, that's been okay. But for the last 3, it hasn't. I applaud NASCAR for changing the rule. However, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't like NASCAR moving the goalposts mid-season, which means you finish out the season, as much as I hate the rule, you finish out the season with the uncontrolled tire rule as is, and then you implement this for 2020. Having said that, I like this rule so much, I don't have that much of a problem with them moving the goalposts mid-season, as we're doing right now. Fantastic move on their part. Now, if they could change just one other thing that has hampered drivers like Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Ryan Newman, Denny Hamlin, take your pick, the lug nut rule. There's 6 lugs. You get 5 on, great. You get the 6th one, not all the way secured. You know what? 5 out of 6 ain't bad. 3 out of 6 is a problem.
Yeah.
The lug nut rule has to go, or be amended before the 2020 season.
I would say so too. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. That brings up a great point, and I don't think we've ever covered it. If there's one rule, either on pit road or on the track, that you would change, what would it be and why?
See, I would have to say, I don't know. I would probably have to say maybe going through too many pit stalls on pit road, because I kind of look at it, I would say that, going through 3 pit stalls, okay, it's fine. But, going through 2 pit stalls, okay. But I think that's probably one thing I would want to change. But other than that, I don't think there's nothing I can change with pit road rules. I mean, because let's be honest. I mean, there was a time where, there was no speed limit on pit road. I mean, there was absolutely there was no speed limit until we killed a crew member. Well, actually, until one of the crew members got killed during a pit stop at the season finale race in 1990. So that's when NASCAR said, okay, we have to go to pit road speed limit. So I don't know. I just look at it, I don't think there should be a rule change for the pit road rules. I think I just leave it the way it is. Okay,
follow-up question on that. Going through too many pit stalls, is pit road empty, or is the field coming in on caution? Because if you're green flag pit stop, say, as I've seen a million times, Joey Logano likes the short pit. Denny Hamlin likes the short pit. It's all pit strategy. It's all track position, and it's all good. If Joey Logano goes in, let's say this coming weekend at Pocono, the pit window is, say, 45. He comes in at 38. He's all by himself. I don't care if he drives through every pit stall to get to his pit stall. That's all well and good. That I understand. But if pit road is jammed and you got 25 cars coming in, yeah, you're a precision driver. Get into your pit stall and get it done. No more of this 2-3 mess. What are you talking about? Are you talking about with a jammed pit road or empty pit road?
I'd probably say maybe jam pit road.
Fair enough. I already mentioned the one rule I would change in the pits would be the lug nut rule. Thank God, we've finally gotten past the uncontrolled tire thing. It's cost way guys in cases and certain drivers way too many victories that they're dominating the race, and because the tire went 4 feet to my right inside my pit box, it's an uncontrolled tire. No, I don't buy it. Kudos to NASCAR.
Right.
On the track, I do have one where ever since the advent of double file restarts, there's two actually I'd change. I'll start with the double file restart. I think they should line up staggered. One should have at least a nose ahead of number two. Stop lining them up one by one. Why? Because if you're the leader and you spin the tires by accident or on purpose, and that second car goes by you, you made the mistake, not him. So if I'm going to bring up Joey Logano, doesn't spin the tires that often. But if Joey Logano spins tires and William Byron's on the outside, and because Joey spins and Byron has that push with really good tires and really good grip, and he goes by Joey Logano, he's immediately penalized. You beat the leader to the line.
Right.
If you stagger them and Joey spins tires, Joey gets to the line just ahead of William Byron. Again, made up scenario. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. The restart, I love double file restarts. I was never a fan, even way back in the day, of the single file restart. The other on-track thing I would change, I want to go back to racing to the line. Because there's way too many times we see guys going door to door. And I understand it. It goes back to New Hampshire Motor Speedway many, many years ago. Dale Jarrett takes a hell of a hit. The car is on fire. He's trying to get out of the car, and guys are whizzing by him at $140. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, in the event that you can do it safely, and NASCAR has the power to say it's not safe, we're freezing the field, or they'll say the car is down on the apron, race back to the line. Racing back to the line sometimes changed everything. If you were, and I'll go back to, I want to say it was Richmond, 1998. Wallace and Earnhardt are going door to door, and they're already on the backstretch. There's a crash in turn one. Wallace and Earnhardt are literally kicking the snot out of each other to get to the line first, so they can, get another lap led at the end of the race. That used to be the 10-point bonus for the most laps led. They were working their butts off. I think racing back to the line should come back if, and only if, it's safe to do so.
See, I kind of like that idea, and I'm thinking like, okay, I really want it to happen, but then yet again, like, NASCAR is not going to bring it back. But I mean, I do agree on that one. Like, let's say like if there's like two cars that are spinning like down on the apron, and they're like not even on the racetrack at all, I think they should race it back to the finish line. And then of course,
now look at Talladega. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, but then yet again, like let's say like if there's a crash on the racetrack and they're not moving, then that's when you should freeze. Then that's when you should freeze the field. But again, this is a little bit of a question mark. Like does NASCAR really want to have it back, or should they not have it back? But I don't know. I really think that's something that maybe Steve Phelps should probably look at, and hopefully, I really want them to do the racing back to the line, but I think they should do it a lot more different than what they did back in the day, like, when it was Winston and then, of course, and so forth, and then Grand National.
Right, and moving forward on that point, I'm not saying that, going back to that Dale Jarrett crash, and I was there, that was scary. That was ridiculously scary because as he's trying to get out of the car, somewhere about a quarter the length between the pit wall and the fence, and drivers are whizzing around him. Like, we got to get position. We got to get position. Jimmy Spencer nearly killed him. But that was the rules they played under. And again, I'm not saying if the big one happens on the backstretch of Talladega that you race back to the line. But when you look at Talladega, when you get below that white line on the backstretch, you have 40, 50 yards between the bottom of the racetrack and that concrete with the safer barrier divider that separates you from the infield. If you spin and you go to that infield side, there's no way you're turning that car around and coming back on the track. If you're butt over tea kettle rolling, yeah, you freeze the field. If you're just basically a spin and your butt end hits the wall and you bounce a couple times and you stay all four tires on the ground, let those guys race back to the line. Stop robbing people who probably have a good run in some cases in the last 10, 15 years since this rule has been started from gaining that one position that could maybe mean a win, better track position, you get into the pits quick, whatever. There's just so much I don't like about freezing the field. And I'm going to ask you this question because I have a problem with this. I've always had a problem with this, and I think that maybe they should go the Wisconsin racing route, Matt Kenseth, Dick Trickle, God rest his soul. I think the fastest qualifier should have to start last. And the slowest qualifier starts first. You're still regarded, you still win the pole award, you still get the little flag, you kiss the girl, everybody's happy. But if you've got the fastest car, you should be able to move through the field quicker.
And see, I agree on that.
Do you think that maybe, just maybe, one day, just for even one race, like maybe, I don't know, the All-Star race, the fastest qualifier starts last? Just to see if it'll work.
I think they should do the All-Star race. I agree.
Okay. Well, maybe it's time to start a straw poll. All of you guys listening, please let us know. What do you think about some of these rule changes that we propose? And if you have any, let us know what your proposed rule changes would be and why. Don't just say, I think every car should have a radio playing Ted Nugent. Nobody wants to hear that. We want to hear the hows and the whys. We give it to you. Now it's time for you to give it to us. And don't forget to go to Anchor FM and leave us a review, iTunes, everywhere. Just 5 stars. You can just say you're wearing shoes. Nobody cares. It's just the algorithm. We want to know that you're out there and you believe in us. So, Corey, we've reached that point of the evening where it's time to pimp, plug, and otherwise push upon the people. And before you do that, I have a question. I saw a post today, even though I'm not allowed to comment because Facebook is Nazi. You have added Menards as a sponsor to your K1 racing team. How does that work? Do you get money from them? What's the deal? Do you put a sticker on the car? What's the story?
I kind of just do like shirt wise and stuff.
All right, fair enough. I thought you were getting money. I'm like, dude, you're working out.
No, just shirt wise and stuff. That's how I do everything on that. So.
All right, fair enough.
Shirts.
Fair enough. All right,
shirts, and more shirts.
Well, before you otherwise push a little piece of artwork real quick. This is done by my daughter. Hold on, I want to read some of this. If you don't like us, don't waste time hating. If you do like us, that's fine. Routine, eat, sleep, work, NASCAR. This is the little artwork that she did, pimping the show with all of our outlets. She's been working on this the entire time. I'll take a picture, and because I can't play with Facebook, I'll have Corey share this. She really did a great job.
Yeah, that is a fantastic job she did. That's really awesome.
Corey says you did a fantastic job. He gives you the thumbs up. She's giving you the piece, so it's all good. Corey, pimp away. Where are you going to be? Where are you racing? What are you doing?
Okay. Let's see. So continue to follow us on C+J Speedway Review on Facebook. Make sure you guys like us and follow us everywhere we go. YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for notifications on when we go live and when we upload. Instagram, we are at CJ Speedway, and then Twitter, we are at CJ_Speedway as well. And also, little funny story. No, I did not get kicked out of the Lion King on Monday, which that was kind of a little bit of a joke. Which, of course, I really wanted. Well, I wanted somebody to pay me $20 to have me sing "The Circle of Life" in front of like everybody, like at the intro, or have me just yell out like, "No, Mufasa can't be dead. He's got to stand up," and so forth. I really wanted to do that out loud and just like see everybody's reactions, but no, I just thought the movie was great, and it was kind of the same as what it was in the animated version, but they kind of did a little. They made like the scenery and a few things a little bit different, but I thought it was pretty good, and apparently some people said it wasn't that great. But
I gotta ask you a question.
All right.
I got to ask you a question because we saw it this weekend at the drive-in at Weirs Beach, New Hampshire. Fantastic. If you've never been to Weirs Beach, go. You won't be disappointed. So we took the kids, went to the drive-through, back of the truck, Jones, blankets, food, etc. I thought some of the twists they made were great. I thought some of the things they omitted were not great. Rafiki not hitting Simba on the head with the stick kind of pissed me off, but it doesn't matter. It's in the past. I'm a fan. I'm a mark for the original. But I have to ask you, my big complaint, and if yours is the same, great. If it's not, tell me why I'm wrong. Beyonce went a little too ghetto in her portrayal of Nala, and I'm not disparaging Beyonce or her portrayal. She did a fantastic job. But at the end, when they're all battling Scar, and she's like, "Lions, unite." I was waiting for her to sing All the Single Ladies. And in fact, Angela and I kind of nudged each other, and we're like, all the single lions, all the single lions, all the single lions. It just went way too far from the actual story. That was my complaint. Do you have any complaints? Again, like you said, overall, fantastic film. Go take your kids, take yourself, take your mom. Go see the movie. Do you have a complaint about the movie?
I would probably say that they could have did Scar a little bit different. Well, they could have did Scar a little bit the same as what he was in the original, but I mean, if you looked at him now, he kind of looked like he was a little bit pale and pretty much weak, like compared to the original. But I think they should have had it like the same as what it was, and I don't know. I mean, I just kind of look at it, and yeah, I mean, I probably have no complaint on that at all. I mean, the whole Beyonce thing, I thought she did a great role in that too, and I wouldn't say that she did a little bit ghetto. I mean, I thought she kind of did the same as what it was, but
just that one scene though, lions unite. I'm like, oh cripes, here it comes. All the single lines. Here, you want a bit of trivia? You're a young guy, not quite as old as me. Then again, not a lot of people are quite as old as me. James Earl Jones obviously comes back as Mufasa.
Of course.
Unfortunately, Madge Sinclair can't come back as Sarabi because we lost Madge Sinclair in the late 90s to cancer.
Yeah.
What other movie did James Earl Jones and Madge Sinclair play King and Queen?
Oh, my goodness. I don't know this one.
Coming to America with Eddie Murphy.
Really?
Yes, indeed. In fact, whoever wrote The Lion King and casted The Lion King loved their roles in Coming to America so much that James Earl Jones and Madge Sinclair were put as Mufasa and Sarabi. So there's your bit of trivia. Fantastic. I'm glad you liked the movie. I loved it too. The kids loved it. Angela loved it. Everybody at the theater clapped at the end. I still don't understand people clapping at the end of a movie.
Everybody clapped at the theater where I was at Monday.
Oh my God! It's not like the actors are going to come out and say, "Hey, thanks again." I've complained about this since Star Wars: The Force Awakens at the end, and everybody stood up and clapped, and I'm in my seat going, "The hell is going on here?" It's not like Kiss is going to come out and bow.
Really?
It's not like Harrison Ford is going to come out and go, "Hey guys, thank you for coming to Waterford Theaters in Connecticut. Much appreciated. Get her done." No, but I understand the passion and I understand all of it. So I'll stop complaining.
Now,
You've
well,
pimped,
now
you've
I
plugged.
can't wait. Well, I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say. Now I can't wait to see a beautiful day in the neighborhood in November.
Oh my God, that looks so good.
I
We'll say
can't wait
that.
to see it. Honestly, I'm gonna say this. I think Tom Hanks deserves the role as Mr. Rogers. I think he deserves it. I don't think anyone else would have played good than Tom Hanks. I mean, I think he deserves the role. I think he does, and I think he's gonna play great. And I can't wait to see it.
As I get into my pimps, Eddie made a point last night on the Loki Jabroni show, which you guys should all be listening to as well. Live stream Tuesday nights on the YouTube and usually on Wednesday on audio only. But for some reason, there was a glitch tonight. We'll get the full audio out to you later this week. Eddie says if Tom Hanks wins the Oscar for A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, they should just rename it from the Oscars to the Hanks. Just rename the trophy.
I could see that maybe.
All right, and on that note, it is time once again for the most famous two words in C+J Speedway review history. Thank you guys once again. Looking forward to Pocono and Iowa this coming week. Now, it's time for Corey to tell you this.
Good night.
There it is. And we're done. So somebody text Eddie and let him know we're done. All you on YouTube.